This is the 2013 Boston Marathon champion.
That's extreme jubilation. You know, the next thing you know, you hear a loud boom.
At first, it almost sounded like a cannon blast. And there were some really bad injuries.
They were banged up bad. Severe lacerations, a lot of blood everywhere.
Earlier today, I was briefed by my Homeland Security team on the events in Boston.
We are looking for any information that people have as to what they saw. We're investigating all leads right now.
We do know that multiple people have been wounded, some gravely. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
Good evening, I'm Tamsin Fidel. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a terror attack that rocked Boston. The bombs that went off at the marathon today left 3 people dead, at least 10 more without limbs, and dozens were injured. Jay Dow is live in Boston right now to begin our coverage of these horrible events. Jay.
Well, Tamsin, there is certainly not the state of chaos that you saw earlier this afternoon, but Boston, without a doubt, is at a heightened state of alert. There are several law enforcement agencies involved in this criminal investigation. There are police departments that are police officers that are still walking the streets, and you still have runners from the marathon walking the street tonight. We just attended a news conference where Governor Deval Patrick gave an update. There is no suspect in custody, but police are speaking with several people, questioning several people. Without a doubt, this is a criminal investigation, an event that has changed the Boston Marathon perhaps forever. The Boston Marathon is one of the city's oldest traditions, marred on Monday by this. 2 powerful explosions. They detonated within 15 seconds of each other at around 2:50 p.m. near the finish line at Copley Square. The force of the impact threw runners and spectators to the ground. People were bloodied, and some witnesses reported seeing body limbs on the ground.
They were banged up bad. Severe lacerations, amputees, a lot of shrapnel. You know, they were pretty big explosions. They were banged, a lot of blood everywhere.
This investigation, led by the FBI, quickly morphed into a criminal probe.
It will be an ongoing investigation. It is a criminal investigation that has the potential, is a potential terrorist investigation.
By nightfall, runners and spectators were still walking Boston streets, stunned by what they had seen.
I sent my family saying 2 booms just happened. I didn't want to say bombs, explosions. My brother was even like maybe they were fireworks. We didn't know. But I immediately thought to my friend, so I'm 25. So when 9/11 happened, I was a younger teenager, and I thought that's so messed up that as soon as we hear these booms, we just immediately think a terrorist attack.
And that's what happened to you.
But yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The FBI is leading what is a federal, state, and local joint investigation. Governor Patrick says that tomorrow, residents of Boston can expect to see law enforcement milling about town, still trying to solve this attack, these explosions. He says that people can expect to have their backpacks searched. It is not going to be a police state, but it certainly will not be business as usual. We are live in Boston tonight. Jay Dow, PIX 11 News. Tamsin?
All right, this is some of the most amazing and terrifying video we have seen of the Boston bombings. The Boston Globe shot this video of the moment of the explosion, but so many videos like this are still emerging on social media sites out there, most of them taken with mobile phones. After the Boston explosions, the NYPD has stepped up security around New York City, that's for sure. Marvin Scott is live in Times Square right now with the story and what he's seeing. Marvin.
Well, Tamsin, given what has happened in this city in the past, New York is on a very heightened alert tonight. Thousands of police officers fanned out through the city, and many of them paying particular vigilance right here in the Times Square area. Though there is no known threat to the city, city officials decided it was prudent to step up these measures as a precautionary measure. Within minutes after the Boston bomb attack, the NYPD deployed extra officers to key locations throughout Manhattan. They were stationed in front of hotels, at subways, and at Grand Central Terminal, where officers made random inspections of backpacks and packages. Though there are no known threats against the city, the extra security was deemed prudent. Mayor Bloomberg said all resources were being mobilized, with particular vigilance in Times Square, with its tens of thousands of tourists. International Security Executive Robert Strang told us the beefed-up security is a good precautionary measure.
Because we don't know the source of the explosives in Boston, we have to cover all avenues. You're going to see a lot of the NYPD in full force. You know, this is a very serious time for us, and we have to be in full alert at least until we learn what happened in Boston.
While extra police are out on the street tonight, other officers are closely monitoring live video from hundreds of surveillance cameras that encircle the city. Security expert Strang says it's still too early, but he feels today's bombing does have a fingerprint.
2 bombs in a sporting event in the middle of Boston. It has the fingerprints of Al-Qaeda or another terrorist group that is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, or homegrown terrorists who are inspired by these Islamic groups, but there's no real indication at this point who it might be.
And I'm told by a source close to the investigation tonight that authorities have recovered enough fragments of the bombs that they will be able to determine where it was made and where it came from, and that determination should be able to come hopefully within a matter of hours. And while police are insisting there is no known suspect in custody right now, my source says authorities are now focusing on one individual. We're live in Times Square. Marvin Scott, PIX 11 News. Tamsin?
All right, Marvin, thank you so much. Well, President Obama spoke this evening about the attack in Boston, expressing sympathy for the victims as he promised justice.
Make no mistake, we will get to the bottom of this, and we will find out who did this. We'll find out why they did this. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
Federal investigators are looking into a possible connection between today's attack and other infamous anniversaries in U.S. history. The federal raid on a religious compound near Waco, Texas, was 20 years ago this week. The Oklahoma City bombing was 18 years ago this week. And the massacre at Columbine High School, well, that took place April the 20th, 1999. As for Virginia Tech, that shooting happened 6 years ago tomorrow. On Long Island, dozens of runners went up to Boston to run. Well, now people are frantically trying to reach their family, friends, and relatives. And Mercogliano is live with that part of the story for us tonight. Ann.
Tamsin, the Greater Long Island Runners Club sent about 50 people up to Boston. They had been training for this marathon for months. It's a very difficult marathon to get into, and some of those people barely made it past the finish line. Tonight, some still can't be reached.
You know, we all lived through 9/11, and it was a horrible thing, but unless you knew somebody there, it didn't affect you personally. I had a whole contingent of people up there in Boston running that race. You don't think about things like this happening at a sporting event. Mike
Polanski, president of the Greater Long Island Runners Club, has been trying to track down Long Island runners in Boston. Some are still unaccounted for.
My friend Bernie Cunningham, who, had she done the pace she wanted to do, would have finished at 4:09 when the bombs went off. Fortunately for her, she had a bad day today. Of course, she didn't finish the race.
His wife, Susan, is a former runner.
If you stop doing the things you love and the things you have a passion for, then they win, whoever they are.
With the Long Island Marathon coming up, Polanski is worried runners won't stop running, but how can this be prevented from ever happening again?
I think we have other things to worry about now. We need security at our races.
The full extent of the carnage is still not known. What is known is that amputations were performed in the aftermath. Polanski says that won't stop runners with a passion.
If somebody is strong-willed and wants to do it enough, they'll come back. They'll come back from their injury. Why here? Why us? And maybe that is a form of anger, but you know, I just don't understand.
And Polanski told me that the people he's spoken to in Boston just sound so relieved to be alive tonight. They sound like they're in shock. Meanwhile, here on Long Island, he plans to speak to officials about the Long Island Marathon coming up in 3 weeks. For now, we're live in Plainview, Long Island. Ann Mercogliano, PIX 11 News. Tamsin, back to you.
Ann, thank you so much. Well, you see the signs all the time, of course, and most of the time you probably ignore them. But today in Boston is exactly why. If you see something, you say something. Here's Greg Mocker with more tonight.
You know how the saying goes. If you see something, say something. Please do see something. Say something. In there, over there, up there, inside that, underneath that, alongside that. I heard from a lot of people today, and I'm one of them too, who was scared and concerned and confused, who wants to know what happened and what went on. Because what can you do? You can pay attention, you can hope that the people in charge have to pay attention, but what can you do? You can see something, say something.
We are asking all New Yorkers to remain vigilant in the days ahead. If you see something that looks strange, just pick up the phone and say something. But at the same time, we refuse to let cowardly acts of violence stop us from living in our city, the city that we love.
I find myself looking along the sidewalk, at the garbage cans, wondering, where are the police, the ones we can and cannot see? I find myself doing that most of the time anywhere, everywhere, in Times Square. A bombing here did not happen May 1st, 2010. 2 guys, street vendors, saw a car, smoke coming from it, and they saw something and said something. The least they could do, the most we can do. And I think there was a lot of that tonight. What can you do? I asked on Twitter and on Facebook, what did you say around the dinner table, you know, like to the kids? And somebody said, we talked about hearing about the helpers, you know, and like about the good that happened because of this horrible thing.
Of course, of course. I mean, you see something like that, and you're right. You see those signs all the time, and you walk by them until something happens.
You wonder.
And then for a little while, we're heightened, you know, and so hopefully we can keep that up, because I saw a lot of increased police officer presence right around.
Right, and let's keep an eye even on those places that aren't in the Central District. Because you know, and I'm one of those people who can be like, what can we do?
I know.
And maybe it's really not that much, or we just do what we can do where we are. So that's my thing.
Trust me, it takes one person.
Yep,
That's it.
yep.
All right, Greg, thank you as always. Well, Mr. G is on vacation, but we did speak with him today by phone. He's a big marathon runner. In case you didn't know, he has 29 under his belt, and he has a friend who ran Boston today.
This is going to change the face of running for a very long period of time, because 26 miles is a long way to run. And my friend who's up there, Mike, who hopefully is well, we've shared this thought together. As runners, a lot can happen, and I think everybody is now going to have to bring their A game when it comes to doing these mammoth outdoor running events. 90% of it may have gone right, but something went seriously wrong.
All right, that was Mr. G there talking with us a little bit earlier about his experience at various marathons throughout the years. All right, we're going to take a moment now and turn our attention to the weather. As we said, G is off tonight, but Steve McLaughlin is here with more for us. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Tamsin. We actually had some absolutely beautiful weather today, and I think most of tomorrow is going to be okay. A mild night. The winds have come down, so a nice night to take a walk in the city. 48 degrees. Up to the north and west, we're actually a little bit warmer. The reason why, a southeasterly wind. It's picking up that colder ocean air. So toward the shoreline, we're in the 40s, but you get away from the ocean and temperatures are considerably warmer. You can see that on the big picture as well. Buffalo, Pittsburgh 61, while Bridgeport is at 46. And notice no cold air anywhere near us, and that is why we have no cold temperatures coming up anytime soon. All right, it is partly cloudy right now. As we go out wider, you can see a big break right here, and I think that's our weather tomorrow. But up to the north and west by tomorrow evening, this is the rain that arrives, and it's a front that basically will move back and forth over the next 4 or 5 days, and every time it comes through, we get the potential for rain. It's not going to be a washout for the next 5 days, but several chances for rain. We'll time that out with our 8-day forecast or 7-day forecast a little bit later in the show. But for tonight, we can tell you it is quiet, 45 degrees and partly cloudy. All right, Tamsin, we'll send it back out to you.
Steve, thank you. We'll see you in a little bit, and we'll be right back. Next, fearing for her life.
He ripped my tights off of me, and he told me, I started screaming, and he told me that no one was going to hear me and that my friends weren't going to hear me, and he started strangling me.
Kidnapping and murder plot?
He seemed so easygoing, like, you know, really He seemed harmless.
Campus chaos.
They wouldn't be able to get us out of there if they didn't bring that stuff, honestly. We would have went all night, probably.